And here's the part that most people don't talk about. The supply side of senior care in this country is not keeping pace with the demand. There's an estimated $1 trillion plus investment gap in senior housing over the next decade.
Welcome to the Physicians and Properties Podcast, the show where we teach you how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want.
Doctor!
Now, here's your host, Dr. Alex Schloe.
A few weeks ago, I was in clinic and I had an 84-year-old woman on my schedule. She was a sweet lady. She was sharp as a tack, lived alone for the last 6 years since her husband passed away. She came in for what I thought was routine follow-up, but about 10 minutes into the visit, she told me kind of quietly, almost apologetically, that she'd fallen twice in the last month and she was scared. She hadn't told her kids, she didn't want to worry them, and she didn't want to be a burden. And I sat there and I thought about how many versions of this conversation are happening in family medicine and internal medicine offices all over the country right now, today. How many older Americans are quietly running out of runway and the people around them have no idea. That visit is part of why I do what I do outside of the clinic, and it's part of why I want to talk to you today. Welcome to another episode of the Physicians and Properties Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Alex Schloe, and I am so glad that you are here. This one's going to be a solo episode, just you and me. And I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. I want to talk about why physicians, specifically physicians, should be paying attention to residential assisted living, not just as an investment, but as a calling, as an extension of the work that we already do. Because if you're a physician listening to this, you already have something that most of the people building in this space would kill to have. And I don't think most of you even realize it yet. So that's what we're going to break down here today. We're going to talk about the demographic wave that's already happening. We're going to talk about why you, with your training, your credibility, your clinical lens, are uniquely positioned to do this. We're going to talk about what it actually looks like to own a home like this without becoming a caregiver. And we're going to talk about the deeper why, because the numbers will get you in, but the numbers are not why you stay. So let's get to it. So here's the picture. 77 million baby boomers aging into a system that was never built to handle them. 10,000 Americans every single day are turning 65. And by the time we get to 2030, the entire baby boomer generation will be over the age of 65. Roughly 70% of them are going to need some form of long-term care. 70%. That's 59 million boomers. And here's the part that most people don't talk about. The supply side of senior care in this country is not keeping pace with the demand. There's an estimated $1 trillion plus investment gap in senior housing over the next decade. Construction in the space has actually slowed dramatically after COVID. And the big box operators, the 120-bed, 200-bed institutional facilities, they're consolidating, they are not expanding. The smaller, more personal models are wildly undersupplied. So what does that mean on the ground? It means that families are making decisions in crisis. Mom falls, dad gets a dementia diagnosis, there's a hospital discharge in 48 hours to figure out what comes next. And instead of finding the right place, families end up placing their loved one wherever a bed happens to be open. I had a guy named Richard tell me once on the Raw Room Assisted Living podcast that he runs a platform that helps families navigate senior living. And he said, quote, "We don't even start having the right conversation until it's a crisis," end quote. That stuck with me. How many times as a physician have you been in that situation where a crisis has happened and a family is desperately looking to you for what to do next? That's the world that we're operating in. And as physicians, we see it every single week. We see the families who are stretched thin. We see the patients who are slowly losing function. We see what happens when the system does not catch them. So the question is not whether it's a problem. The question is, who is going to step into it? Real quick, in case you're newer to this, let's make sure that we're on the same page about what residential assisted living actually is. A residential assisted living home, RAL or RAL for short, is exactly what it sounds like. It's a home, a real home, usually a single family residence, often in a nice neighborhood that's been licensed and renovated to provide care for somewhere between 6 to 16 seniors at a time. It's not a nursing home, it's not a big box facility, and it's not a hallway that smells like a hospital. It's a kitchen where someone actually cooks a delicious meal. It's a living room where residents know each other. It's caregivers who know the residents by name, know how they take their coffee, know which grandkid is coming to visit on Sunday. And on the business side, for the right investor or operator, a single family home like this can generate a 6-figure of net income per year, $10,000 per month in cash flow from one home, one asset. That's the model. And the rest of this episode is about why you specifically are built for it. So let's get to the meat of this. I want to walk through 5 things that physicians bring to residential assisted living that almost no one else in the space has. And I want you to think about this not as a list of credentials, but as a list of unfair advantages that you've already paid for in time, energy, effort, and maybe some tears. So the first one is clinical credibility. When a family is touring an assisted living home and they're trying to decide where they want to place their mom, what they're really asking underneath every question is, can I trust these people with the most important person in my life? Now imagine that home is owned or co-owned or clinically advised by a board-certified physician. That is not a small thing. That is a massive signal of quality, and families notice it. Referral sources notice it. Hospital discharge planners notice it. State surveyors notice it. The SBA banks notice it. You have something that most operators in this space have to spend years building, and you can walk into the room with it on day one. The second is your clinical lens. I see geriatric patients every day in clinic, and I manage their medications. I see the cascade of polypharmacy, the fall risk, the dementia progression, the UTIs that present as confusion, the hospice transitions. And what that's done for me as an investor and operator is that I understand the resident, not the spreadsheet, but the resident. I know what good care actually looks like at the bedside, and I know what bad care looks like as well. I know what the medication pass should look like at 9 p.m. in a home with 16 residents. I know what should be on the care plan. I know what should not be on the care plan. The clinical lens is going to inform every decision that we make. How we design the home, how we vet the operator, how we staff it, how we audit it. You can't buy that. You have earned that in your training. The third one is your referral network. You already know hospitalists, you already know social workers, you already know primary care doctors, you know the discharge planners, you know the home health and hospice agencies. These are the people that place residents in assisted living every single day. Most operators are spending money on Google ads and senior placement agencies trying to fill beds, but you have the relationships already built in. And if you do this right, and you treat your colleagues like the professionals that they are, your home won't have a marketing problem. It'll have a wait list. The fourth one is your understanding of the regulations. Healthcare is by far, as we know, the most regulated industry in this country. And you've been operating inside that system your entire career. HIPAA, Medicare, CMS, Joint Commission, state licensing boards, documentation requirements. Assisted living is regulated state by state, and the rules vary, but the muscle you've developed dealing with the healthcare regulation translates almost 1-to-1. You understand compliance, you understand audits, you understand that documentation matters. Most first-time operators get crushed by this, but you will not. The fifth one is mindset. You did not become a physician to make the easiest money. You became a physician because somewhere underneath the long hours, the burnout, and the documentation, you actually care about helping people. The folks who win in this space long-term are the ones who lead with mission and with purpose, and they back it up with smart operations. That's the exact wiring that you already have. You are built for this. So when I look at clinical credibility, clinical lens, referral network, regulatory muscle, mission-driven mindset, I think physicians are quite possibly the best positioned group in America to lead the next decade of senior care and to help solve the senior housing crisis. The question is whether we are going to do it. Now, I want to slow down for a minute because I don't want this to come across as just a business pitch. here's the deeper piece. When a physician owns or partners on a residential assisted living home, the care inside that home is different. And I don't mean a little different. I mean meaningfully different. You can set higher clinical standards. You can build relationships with the resident's primary care providers. You can train your caregivers on what to actually watch for, early signs of decline, medication interactions, UTI presentations in the elderly. You can build a culture of clinical excellence inside the home that a typical operator cannot. You can catch problems earlier. You can keep residents out of the emergency room. You can extend their independence, and you can give them dignity at the end of life. I've seen over and over what happens when seniors live in a place where someone actually knows them. They live longer. They live better. They smile more. The families get their parent back in a way that they hadn't seen them in years. There's a phrase that I often come back to on our work in the 𝗪 room. Isolation is expensive. It's expensive in dollars because isolation leads to hospitalization. It leads to bad outcomes. It leads to crisis placements. But it's also expensive in something much more important than dollars. It's expensive in years of life, in quality of life, in connection. We can change that one residential assisted living home at a time, one living room at a time. I've talked to a lot of folks who have gotten into residential assisted living for the numbers, and every single one of them tells me the same thing. The numbers got me in, but that's not why I stayed. There's something that happens when you walk into a well-run residential assisted living home for the first time. The residents know the caregivers. The caregivers know the residents. There's a real kitchen, someone who is cooking a delicious meal. There are photos on the walls and names on the doors, and in some homes, maybe a dog walking around. It feels like home because it is one. And when you realize that you've built that because of the decision that you made, some family isn't driving an hour to visit their mom in a hallway that smells like a hospital, something shifts and you cannot unsee it. Now, here's where this comes full circle for the Physicians and Properties audience. You've heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it again because it is worth repeating. Financial freedom is a spectrum. It doesn't mean quitting medicine. I'm a PRN physician at UC Health right now. I love medicine. I'm not trying to escape it, but I love practicing medicine on my own terms. I love scheduling shifts when I want to. Freedom might mean not moonlighting. Freedom might mean one less shift so you can be at your kid's soccer game. Freedom might mean walking away from the patients you don't want to see and keeping the ones that you love. Freedom might mean cutting back to 4 days a week. It might mean a sabbatical. It might mean the ability to say no to the call schedule that's been wearing you down for the last decade. And for the right physicians, one residential assisted living home can be the financial difference that unlocks all of that. Think about what a single asset throwing off $10,000 per month in potential cash flow could do for your call schedule, for your patient panel, for your weekends, for your marriage, for your kids, for the dinner that you keep missing. That is what I mean when I talk about ROI measured in moments that you don't have to miss. That's the math that truly matters. Now, I get it. Some of you are thinking right now because I hear it almost every week. Alex, this sounds great, but I'm a busy physician. I'm not about to go work shifts in an assisted living home. I have a full clinical schedule. I have kids. I can't do this. I hear you. And here's the truth. You do not have to. And here's how that works when you build it right. You can hire a licensed administrator. And in most states, this is going to be required anyway. And they manage the day-to-day care of the home. They handle staffing, they handle resident care, they handle family communications, they handle the regulatory compliance and licensing. Your job is to manage the manager. You're reviewing financials, you're walking through the home periodically, you're making sure that the culture and care standards are set from the beginning and they're where they need to be. You are the owner, not the operator. Is it 100% passive? No, nothing worth owning is. But the model that's built intentionally is designed to run without you every single day. There's also a path called the lease to operator path. That's where you own the real estate, you lease the home out to a licensed operator, and you collect rent or a lease fee. That's even closer to truly passive. We have 5 homes structured this way in Arizona, and we've partnered with an operator on 3 more in Wisconsin, and we're currently building 2 development projects where we'll be involved in the day-to-day operations. One in 𝗵𝗆𝗀, Texas, and one in Missouri. Look, I'm not in these homes every day. I haven't even seen some of these homes in person. And that is the way it can be for you. There are physicians in the 𝗪𝗻 Mastermind right now who are doing this with a handful of hours a month on top of full clinical careers. It's absolutely possible. It just has to be built the right way. And that, building the right way, is exactly what we teach. I want to bring this back to the lady I saw in the clinic at the start of this episode, the 84-year-old who had fallen twice and hadn't seen her kids. There are versions of her in every single zip code in America. And there are families behind her who are about to face a decision that they are not prepared for. The question I keep coming back to is, what would it look like if more of these decisions led to a high-quality residential assisted living home? Not a facility, not a warehouse, a home. With caregivers who know her name, with a kitchen that smells like bacon, with a physician-led operation behind it, making sure that the care was high quality. That's the country of care that I want to help build out. And that is why we do this. If you're a physician listening to this, and if any of this resonates with you, the silver tsunami, the alignment with the work you already do, the income, the freedom, the impact, I want to invite you to take one next step. Every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Eastern, we host a free live webinar through the 𝗪𝗻 where we walk through exactly how to open your first or your next residential assisted living home. We cover the model. We cover the paths to investing. We cover the numbers, the licensing, the team, the financing. No fluff, just the real stuff. And if you've got questions, we'll answer them live. It's online, so you can put on your sweatpants. I'm not going to judge. So head over to the 𝗪𝗻.com/webinar to register for that webinar. That link will also be in the show notes for this episode as well. And if you've been thinking about this for a while, this is the easiest first step that you can take. Come check it out and bring your questions and see if this is right for you. Look, that's it for this episode. And if this episode hits you in any way, if you've got a parent or a patient who comes to mind, if you've been wondering whether there's a different way to use your medical training, if you're a physician who's looking for an exit ramp that doesn't mean walking away from medicine, I'd love for you to share this with another physician who needs to hear it. And as always, thank you so much. I sincerely mean that. Thank you for your most valuable resource and spending some of that with me. That is time. I'm Dr. Alex Schloe, and this has been another episode of the Physicians and Properties Podcast. Signing off. Hey, real quick, if you're still listening to this, I'm assuming you got value from it. So I need your help specifically. My 2-year vision with this podcast is to help 100,000 physicians learn how investing in real estate can give you the freedom to practice medicine and live life how you want. There are 2 main ways that a podcast grows. One is through ratings and reviews, and the other is word of mouth. If you can please leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as send this to 1 to 2 friends that you think would get value from it, we can reach the physicians that we want to reach. Thanks in advance, and talk to you on the next episode. Please note that the information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial or medical advice. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the host and the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Department of Defense or the United States Air Force.